Guys, okay, so this is my second attempt at recording this video. I wanted to share with you a little bit about the behavior management plan we are using for our 6.5-year-old foster daughter. Just to give you a little bit of background on me, my name is Lacey, and I work with kids with special needs. I'm actually a special ed aide, but at our school that job looks a little different. I look more like a special ed teacher than an aide. I teach my own classes, I have my own lesson plans and curriculum and everything, and I just check in with a credentialed teacher. I don't create the behavior management plans, but I implement them based on what the credentialed teachers and the behavior case manager creates. So a lot of the things that I've learned from working in the field of behavior management with kids with special needs has kind of led to me creating this strategy that I use with our foster daughter. When we first learned about our foster daughter, she was placed with us about a little more than 2 months ago. When we first learned about her, one of the things that her profile had said was that she was engaging in a lot of attention-seeking behavior. So from my experience working at my job, I do know that if a child's behavior is attention-seeking, one of the best ways to respond to that is to pretty much not respond. So ignore any behaviors that you don't want to see anymore, because if you give any attention, even if it's negative attention to the child, attention is attention, whether it's negative or positive, it doesn't really matter. So I knew that right off the bat we were going to do our best to ignore and redirect any undesired behavior. When we learned about her and we went to her full disclosure meeting before we accepted her as a placement, we were told that she was engaging in severe tantrums of screaming, crying, even some aggressive behavior, which was really just kind of like hitting and kicking if you tried to carry her to a different location, which I think is pretty tantrum appropriate and age appropriate to a degree. If you pick up a kid that's having a tantrum, they're probably going to hit or kick you. But despite all of that, we were being told that these severe tantrums were lasting anywhere from 1 to 4 hours, and they were happening every day or at least a minimum of like 3 days a week. And so she was engaging in a lot of problem behavior, a lot of really big tantrums, and they were happening at a really high rate. So because of my experience at my job, I felt confident that knowing that her behavior was attention seeking, that was the function, I knew what our response should be to it, and I felt confident that we would be able to work with her and get those behaviors under control and at least reduce the duration and the frequency of them pretty significantly once she was in our home and learned the expectations of our home. So anyways, I posted a comment on one of Erica's posts in a group that I'm in, and it was about she posted a question about a child that was similar in age to our foster daughter and how to manage some of the behaviors that he had. So I had suggested a barometer system, as this has been so successful for us, and a couple people showed interest, and I've had other people in the past have interest in this as well, and I just haven't taken the time to sit down and explain it. But so that's what I'm going to do today, and I'm going to try to be somewhat quick about it. When I recorded this the first time, it was a very long video, so I'm going to try to speed it up a little. One thing that I'm going to start with is that the first thing you need to know is that attachment is more important than discipline. So when she first got placed with us, our main priority was just building rapport. So making creating really fun opportunities for us, and um, lots of opportunities to laugh and play and be silly and high fives and hugs and all that kind of stuff. So that she was building that good rapport with us, and we were attaching and all of those things. I didn't want to just bombard her with all of a sudden, like, oh, you're making a bad choice, so you're going on red or you're going on yellow. We really spent that first like 2 weeks just really focusing on having fun and creating the bond and attachment that needed to be there before we could even address discipline. So I think it was about a week and a half into her being here, I showed her the barometer. So this is how we kind of did it. We built rapport, we worked on attachment for that first week and a half. And when she didn't have any tantrums because we were just having fun. And there was not a lot of expectations. There wasn't any discipline. If she wanted something, she got it. We just really had life pretty much led by her, so there was no really issues to have any tantrums because she was getting everything she wanted. She had 100% of our attention, so that really eliminated her having any tantrums, which was really a great thing for us. But about a week and a half into her staying with us or being here in the home, I showed her the barometer. I just said, hey, I'm going to show you something, and no worries about it. Don't be stressed out about it or anything like that. But I just want to show you something. I said, have you seen the movie Inside Out? And she said, yeah. And I said, this is Joy. She's really happy. And this is the color green. It kind of looks like a stoplight, right? What do we know? Green means go. Yellow means slow down. Red means stop. So Joy is really happy. And when we're on green, when our choices and when we're having fun, that means we're on green. We're having fun time, and we can go, and the fun can keep on going. And I created an icon. I'm not going to show it to you because it has a picture of our foster daughter on it, but on the other side of this Velcro, on the other side is the picture, and we use that as her icon. So it sits here on green, and I had it on green, and I said, we have a lot of fun together, and right now we're having a ton of fun, and so right now we're on green. But disgust, I think that's disgust. Her, she's pushing someone away, she's making kind of a sassy facial expression, she's kind of got a bad attitude. So if those types of things are going on, those are kind of more yellow choices. And when what do we know about yellow? Yellow means that we slow down. So fun is going. If we go to yellow, then that would mean that the fun would slow down, and maybe we could take a cool down. And then look at anger. He's really upset. He's really mad. He might be yelling or crying or screaming. And if that was happening, then that would be a red choice. And then the fun has to stop, and we have to take a break until we can move back to yellow and then move back to green. So I just kind of talked about it with her and explained it, and that was it. I did not implement it again for a little while. We kind of just discussed it, got familiar with what it was and all of that. Then I introduced some tools that she could use if she ever did get to yellow. And you can see I made the tools card yellow to coordinate with the yellow on the barometer. And the tools that I created for her were to take deep breaths. We usually do 2 or 3, count to 10 and back down to 0 again, and then rest and relax. Sometimes we do all 3, sometimes we just do these 2, sometimes we do that one. It just kind of depends. So the first time that we used this, she did end up going all the way to red. And that's pretty typical. When we do have to implement the barometer, she usually goes to yellow, and then she gets frustrated that we put her on yellow, and then that cycles her to red. But we have noticed that having the visual is helpful to her, because when she does finally start to get calm, we can move her to yellow, and then we can give her the praise for getting to yellow. Hey, I really like, we'll say things like, wow, I really like how you're sitting calmly and quietly right now. We can move off of red and go to yellow. And when we get to yellow, we can look at our tools and we can do these things that help us get back to green. So, one of the things, because her behaviors are attention seeking, the way it kind of works is she has all of our attention and we're super fun. We kind of are just a fun family in general. We do lots of fun activities and things like that. So we're always kind of having fun. And then if she's having like a bad attitude or being sassy or anything like that in the very beginning, then we would move her to yellow. So we would say, hey, right now you're making some yellow choices. You're being sassy or disrespectful, or you're not following directions, or you're not being friendly, or you're not accepting mommy and daddy's answer. That's disrespectful, so that goes to yellow. And then when she would start to cry or get upset or say mean things to us or whatever, we would say, hey, right now you're crying or you're yelling or you're not following our directions at all right now, and because of that you're on red right now. So we always identified for her what the choice was that she was making that was causing her to go to red or causing her to go to yellow. And then the same thing in reverse. When she was doing the right things, we would tell her, hey, I'm going to move you off of red and back to yellow because you're sitting calmly and quietly. Or, oh my gosh, you used all of your tools and you're showing me that you're ready to go back to green. So we would do these things, and then on this side I wrote down what she needs to do to show me she's ready for green. So on this side it says, I'm ready for green when I am standing on 2 feet, my frown is upside down, and I'm using a normal voice. This has been so good for her. We are at a point now where so when she does all these things, I'll come back to what I was going to say. After she's done all these things, then I say, okay, let's flip it over and let's talk about all the things we do to get back to green. Are you ready? So if she's ready, she'll stand up on her 2 feet, her frown is upside down, and she's using a normal voice. And if she does that, then we move her to green and we celebrate. We make a big deal. It doesn't matter if she was on red for 2 minutes or she was on red for an hour. It doesn't matter. If she manages her behavior and cools down and gets all the way back to green, it is huge. Whoa, oh my gosh, you did it. You found a way to control yourself and to get in control of your feelings and your emotions, and you calmed yourself down, you got calm and quiet. Then you took all your deep breaths, you counted to 10, you rested and relaxed, and now you're standing on 2 feet, you're using a normal voice, and your frown is upside down. So you got back to green, nice job. And we hug and we make a big deal of it, and we remind her how much we love her and that it's okay if you go to red, you can always get back to green and you know how to do it. And something important to point out is that when she does go to yellow, we're still available to talk with her and kind of not bargain necessarily, but we're still available to talk about the cool down and, hey, let's do it together, or something like that. Like, we're still engaging with her, but it's more just neutral, and we're not like all excited and happy. We're just kind of like sound kind of bored and uninterested. It's kind of like, hey, you can do your yellow things, you can take deep breaths, you can count to 10, whatever. And then if she goes to red, then all of our interactions with her stop. Since her behavior is attention seeking, we don't want to really engage in a lot of chit chat around any of it, but especially not if she's on red. So if she goes to red, then all of our interactions with her pretty much stop, except for I'll let her know why she's on red, and then I let her know that I'll check on her in a few minutes and see if she's ready to go to yellow. Or if she's ready for yellow, she can always just sit calmly and quietly, and I'll come in and move her to yellow. So I set a timer for 3 minutes, and every 3 minutes, whether she's screaming her head off or she's sitting quietly, when 3 minutes goes by, I walk in. She could be crying, yelling, doesn't matter. I walk in and I say, hey, right now you're on red because you're crying or because you're yelling. You can get to yellow when you're sitting calmly and quietly. And if she's like yelling or crying, then I say, it seems like you still need some more time. I'll come back and check on you. And I don't go downstairs. I don't go out and do gardening and come back in. I don't go work on laundry. I stay right outside of her door and I wait for 3 minutes and I keep doing that. And I always let her know I'm not going anywhere. I'll be right out in the hallway. I'll check on you in a few minutes, because I don't want her to feel like I'm just going to abandon her and she's expected to figure it out on her own. I don't really think that's fair. She's too young to figure it out on her own. She's going to need some support, but I'm not going to sit in there and snuggle her and cuddle her while she cries and is upset with me or anything like that. She has to learn how to control her emotions and her behaviors and be the one that has the power to get herself back to here. I want her to learn that skill. And the good news is that she's been here for only 2 months, and we pretty much no longer need to have this physical barometer in front of her. We can just talk about the colors and talk about what kind of choices those are. So for instance, if we're in the grocery store and she asks to buy something and we say no, and she starts whining and being kind of sassy and rude because we said no to something, then I can just pretty much say to her, like, hey, right now you're making some yellow choices and I really want us to stay on green. Do you want to move to yellow or do you want to stay on green? And she'll say stay on green, and I say, ooh, that's what I want too. I want to stay on green. So right now would be a good time to maybe take a deep breath or count to 10 and back and leave the yellow choices behind, and and I want you to start making green choices so we can stay on green. And most of the time she's very receptive to that now, and she can just go back to making green choices and kind of turn it around right in that moment, which is awesome. That's so perfect. And then there are times where she stays on yellow for a while and then she comes back to green. And there's times when she goes all the way to red and we haven't had the barometer with us, but we just tell her, right now you're making a red choice, so you're on red, and you can get back to yellow by sitting calmly and quietly. And then when she gets here, sometimes we don't have this with us anymore. So we just tell her, remember, when you're on yellow, you can show me you're ready for green by taking some deep breaths, counting to 10 and back, and resting and relaxing. And if she does those things with us when she's on yellow, then we just move her back down to green when she's standing on 2 feet using a normal voice and her frown is upside down. So when I started, I kind of told you about how long her behaviors were in her previous placement and how frequently they were happening. And she's been with us for about 2 months, and we started using this, I'd say, around the second week that she was with us. And the longest tantrum we've seen was 40 minutes, but that was a very long one for what we consider a tantrum. Other than that 40-minute one, all of them have been under 20 minutes. Most, like 20 minutes, 16 minutes, 9 minutes, 6 minutes. Those were the ones that went to red. And she was having red tantrums almost every single day that were lasting 1 hour to 4 hours. So obviously this is working for her. She's very tied into it. She wants to stay on green. She knows that every single time we do this, it's exactly the same. Our response is always the same. The expectations for her to get to green are the same. Doesn't matter if she's being sassy or if it's just because she's being sassy or if she's not following directions or whatever the deal is. It doesn't matter what got her here to yellow or to red. Our response and our expectations of her are the same. The tool she uses is the same. The outcome is the same. It doesn't matter what she's doing. She will have the same response and same expectations to get back to here again. And I think that's really important because that teaches her those skills that are applicable to like any situation she'll ever be in where she might feel overwhelmed or frustrated. She's really getting firm with these skills. So that's kind of what was so important to us, is we wanted to be so consistent so that she could learn that this is how she can manage her own choices and her own behavior and be accountable for it, but also be proud of herself for being able to control her own body and her own choices to be in control of this fun time. So I always remind her when she's here, I always tell her when she's like, a lot of times she'll be crying and yelling and saying like, I need help, I can't do it by myself, I just need a hug, and then I'll get to green. First I need a hug, then I'll get to green. And I'm like, I'll go in when I do my 3-minute check-in. Hey, mommy really wants to give you a hug. I hear you asking for that. But that will be available when you get back to green. So only you can control your body and only you can control your voice. And I'll know you're ready to go to yellow and then go to green when you show me you're sitting calmly and quietly. And then I tell her, right now it seems like you need a few more minutes. I'll come back and check on you. And then I do. I just keep doing that over and over and over and over and over again until she shows me she's ready. So I hope that all made sense to you guys. Obviously, you don't need to use Inside Out characters. You could use Cars characters or Trolls or Moana or whatever your kiddo's into, you can use those characters. You don't have to use a picture of your child either. That's just something I did, but you could do a little star, you could do their favorite cartoon character, whatever will tie them into this. That's the whole point here. So let me know if you guys have any questions, if I missed anything or whatever, but I hope this was helpful, and I hope that, you know, if you can use it in your home and help your kiddo learn how to self-manage and self-regulate, that would be amazing. Let me know your feedback, guys. Talk to you later.